Hi guys! In this video I'm going to teach you how to make hard edge paintings using acrylic paint. First you're going to want to start off by grabbing the materials you'll need. Your paint, a ruler, some gesso, a clear medium, painter's tape, and flat end brushes. I'll be working on masonite board, which I've already gessoed. You can also work on canvas. With the masonite board I made sure to sand it so that way it'll be nice and smooth and easier for me to work with. First you'll want to draw the shape you'll be making. Even if it's just practice, it's nice to have an objective as to where you'll want the lines to be. I'm just going to make an easy triangle. Taking the painter's tape, or you can also use masking tape for this. If it's just practice, that should be fine, but it does have a tendency to bleed more, whereas painter tape would be the ideal one to use. Place the tape where you want the lines to be, and then make sure that you burnish or smooth down the edges of the tape using your finger or a nail so it's flat and flush with the surface. This is important so that none of the paint that you'll be applying will be able to get under it. You're applying the gesso using, again, a flat-ended brush right into the tape line, so that way the gesso might seep through the tape. If anything's going to seep through, you're going to want it to be the gesso instead of the paint you're using. It's much better to have this seep through the tape, so that way there'll be no room for the new color you'll be adding to seep through as you bleed the line. Once your entire image is covered, wait for it to dry. You know that gesso is dry if it's room temperature. If it's still cool to the touch, then that means it's still wet. To speed up the drying process at any time, you can try using a hairdryer. It's recommended that you use it on low, otherwise it may warp the board you're using or it might make the tape too sticky and difficult to remove. Once you know that your gesso is dry, it's time to take a flat-ended brush and start to apply your paint. It's important to start on the tape and pull away from it. There are two techniques you can do to filling in your shape. Either what I'm doing here and an even flat coat, or doing a thick application of the paint. If I find later on that my coat isn't as opaque as I'd like, I might wait for it to dry and then reapply the red paint before removing the tape. If you're mixing your colors, make a point of making extra and storing them in some aluminum foil so they won't dry out and you'll have them for later on if you need to fix anything. We're going to want to make sure that our paint is dry. Once it is, we're able to do the fun part, which is removing the tape. Pull out the tape from the corner and then pull it away at an angle. Remove all the tape and you can check out your hard work. It looks like our triangle looks pretty good, with lots of crisp, clean edges. Now that we've gotten one image down, it's time to work using a second image. I'm going to start by drawing off a simple shape and again applying the painter's tape, making sure to burnish my edges down flat to the board. My shape overlaps with another color. I'm not able to use the gesso this time. This is because if I use gesso to seep under, it'll get onto my newly created red triangle, which isn't what I want. Instead of using gesso, use a clear medium, such as a gel medium, to bleed underneath your tape. The medium should dry clear, so if it does bleed under, it won't be noticeable. It'll be especially not noticeable if you do a varnish over top of everything. If you're not planning on doing a varnish, however, it's best to keep your medium a matte. Once your medium's fully dry, now we get to apply our new color of paint. Here you're going to want to make sure that you've considered the paint opacity. In this example, I'm using blue paint on top of the red. If I was to use yellow instead, the red triangle would show up a lot easier, but since the blue is darker, it's able to cover the lighter color. It looks like our images turned out great. It's important to remember that hard edge painting requires you spend a lot of time on it, so make sure that you don't rush and you're patient when working. It's also important that you take the protective coats, such as the gesso and the clear medium, seriously. It's a lot easier to do this the first time than to have to try to fix something later. If you're interested in learning any more about these different techniques, one of the videos I would definitely recommend watching would be the Golden Painting Series. The link is in the description below. Thanks for watching and best of luck with your paintings in the future.